you know that the music should be solemn?
It's happening. Fuck it. Let's do it live.
Did you press the right buttons, Theo? Did you press the right ones?
I hope so.
Are your engineers going to be on the line with you going, press a fucking button, Theo? It's
no,
Wednesday.
They're going to be like, where are you now? Where are you?
I want to know where you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know that room.
It's funny. Either do I. I got thrown out of the office on my return to the home.
Kicked right out.
Kicked right out.
Out.
I said, yeah, I have to get ready for the podcast. We're going to record. And she said, not here anymore. I said, oh. So this is a makeshift thing I have going on. It's in fortunate enough to have a house with a guest room where usually the kids call it Aunt Colleen's room because it's Megan's sister when she stays here all the time, stays here. So I'm in Aunt Colleen's room, Kim.
That will be Uncle Kim's room when I show up.
Correct.
Right
I have
there.
A painting like you.
I love that painting.
It's cool.
Do we know what that is? It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's Biggie.
Is that your crown?
It's with a crown over his head, and it's by an artist named Dirty Art, D-U-R-T-Y.
Beautiful.
And I pulled this vintage chair out, and I got my knees pressed against some kind of I don't know what's going on here, Kim.
Do you have your diaper on? I just want to know. We finished that show. Did you keep that diaper? My Twitter feed was off the hook on Theo. Did he keep the diaper? I want to know. Did you keep that diaper?
I didn't. I was a little mortified by that thing, so I have PTSD. So I don't have gone. So yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
Welcome back home. I'm glad you finished up that movie in beautiful Canada. You were there a while.
6 weeks.
I know it's going to be a bit of a thriller. You probably don't want to talk too much about it, but I know the fans will go crazy for it. So I'm glad you finished it.
It was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy at the end. It was getting cold up there.
Yeah, cornfields, freezing.
So the whole film is outside, so you're just outside, and we were doing nights. So you're outside, 3, 4, 5 a.m. like we said, and one of the last scenes I had to do, I was in water.
Whoa.
Outside.
That adds to the coldness of the whole situation.
I don't do well in the cold. You know that.
No, your hands.
Fingertips. They go.
They
go. So
they go white.
Yeah, you go white. It's called Raynaud's. It happened, and it was an interesting last few nights, but it's what I love doing. So excuse me, it's what I love doing, and it was it's going to be a wild one. But unfortunately I'm out of Canada, and I kind of have my but here's what's funny. You'll like this. And one day, maybe after this airs, I'll put the picture on, because I like to ask about Canada all the time. In hair and makeup, and I'm just always constantly asking about Canada. They got me as my wrap gift. They got me Trudeau socks with his face all over it, and a Trudeau shirt. So I have all Trudeau gear. I was just very curious about Justin Trudeau and really everything that goes on there in the multiple party system and all that. So that was the wrap gift from my Canadian crew for me.
Don't be wearing that in Alberta or Saskatchewan. But other than that, you're good. You're good.
Other than that, you're good.
Manitoba doesn't really care. BC's just trying to not cut down all the trees, so they're doing their own thing. But Alberta's still a little sore. They should get over it. They should just take care of themselves.
But not like it is in the States. It's not this like people disowning each other.
No, mind you, we won't get too political, but there was a minute there where Alberta wanted to secede from Canada, and we all went, no, just stop. You're not going anywhere.
They got it going on in my neighborhood now, where one person will put up a sign of, one thing, and then the other person put up a little bigger sign, and then one person will put up like a flag, and then one person will put up a bigger flag. And
Jesus,
next thing you know, they're going to like tarp their house like it's getting exterminated in whatever candidate they like. And it's just, they're in it. They're in it.
November 3rd can't come soon enough, buddy. November 3rd. Come on.
Yeah. This is definitely a different one. So I'm back.
Welcome home.
The airports are still really interesting when you fly.
Did you get home easier this time? You had a wonderful story about trying to get out last time,
Wow.
Was it easier this time? Was it better for you?
Yeah, much better, much easier. Way easier coming in than getting out. Sounds terrible, but
I kind of liked it actually. I didn't mind that sentence.
But yes, I'm back, and I got to tell you, the greatest thing now about being on the plane and getting a minute to dive into the phone and all that is people are really loving these Reaper reviews. By the way,
no, they're going crazy for them. I mean, honestly, even my wife Diana, she's telling everybody, and half the people already know. Amazing. They're telling people. It's kind of fun because people. Honestly, we said this, Theo, for the last 8, 9, 10 weeks now. People want to laugh. People want to share something that made them feel so good from 2008 to 2014. Yep. And now in Canada, especially, they're on Netflix, as you know.
Oh, I know.
So it's there's so many millions of people who didn't have Super Channel or didn't have the FX Canada channel, have heard all about it. So now they're actually, because of Reaper Reviews, because of your show, they're watching the whole show. So everyone wins. This is a win-win.
It's so great. And we're winning because we're watching it. And, and we'll get to the episode that we are doing today. So we'll get to it. The season 3, episode 1 premiere. And I can't wait to get to it. But before we get to it, just saying, when I was on the plane, I'm perusing and I'm seeing, it's incredible. And like you just said, there were people that came up to me at the airport, and it's a little different now because you got the mask, you got, I wear the glasses, I wear the hat, I got the whole thing. I look like,
you could be anybody.
Could be anybody, like the Invisible Man. Like I am fully wrapped
love
up.
That.
You can't see
love
anything.
that.
It's pretty amazing, by the way. But when you remove it to have a coffee or, you're doing whatever, somebody could catch that sneak peek quick. And then it's, hey,
it's on.
And it's on. So I did get a couple of people telling me that they've been listening and watching because, YouTube and all that. So on that note, subscribe to the channel. This is YouTube if you're watching it. And if you're listening, subscribe to wherever you're listening. And it really seems to be bringing people joy. So I feel it's kind of cool.
No, it's fantastic. It really is fantastic. I have no idea how many millions and hundreds of thousands, but every week it's better and bigger and better and bigger. And, I asked you this last week and I forget what number you even told me what we've done, maybe 10, 11, 12.
I have the number.
There's 92 of these, Theo.
I thought you said 93.
92.
Okay.
13 times 7.
Not a Christmas special? There's no Christmas
special? There should be, but there wasn't. Can you imagine us giving up turkeys at the clubhouse? Why not?
Would that be a Christmas episode?
Charming would have loved it. They might have even loved us.
That could be what we all go back for. It could be like, it'll be a time where pre-season 5, because it's got to be while Opie was still around.
Yeah.
And we'll all film a Christmas episode. Some people might have to get CGI'd because they don't look like that time, but like they would have to do some adjustments on them.
Like maybe 85%. You and I are okay.
I'm good. I shave. I could do the mohawk tomorrow. I'd be good.
Oh, you're
fine.
So good. I'm fine.
Given, but in season 3, when we get to it in a few minutes, but who knows how long till we get to it. Your hair is, this is ultimate hair.
Magnificent.
Oh my goodness. It's like the statue of David. It is unbelievable.
Even I was taken back. I stopped and went, Di, look at this fucking hair.
Megan
look
said
at the length. Look at the color.
Oh,
I don't dye my hair, as you know. Got some gray in there somewhere.
We're going to talk about it. I have it in my notes, but you came up to the bar at one point and I was like, whoa, look at this guy's hair. It was unbelievable. Like
I found the camera beautifully in season 3. Even when I wasn't talking, I did a beautiful Tommy Flanagan find the lens. Find the lens. I knew where the lens was at all times. The hair was always.
It was amazing. So
I pretended to look at a chipmunk or a squirrel, but it was really just to show the right side of my head. Yeah.
So I'm telling you now, that hair, even if you have to wig it up, I think we're going to do, listen, if things go, who knows, what's going on in the world. And if we make it to these 92 for a multitude of reasons, but which will be a good sign if we do.
We can do it.
We can
do it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
I'm going to tell you something. I'll be honest with everyone and always with you. I thought at this point in my mind, I was thinking when we started doing this, when we were like, hey, you know what? I don't really like talking to other people when we were doing theory originally. I was like, it's kind of, it just felt like a lot of work. While I find most people interesting, I just had you and I just have fun. We could talk for no reason about nothing for days. So I was like, we did our
and
first one.
And we do. Trust me, and we do.
So I was like, we're going to do this. And we decided to do Reaper reviews, right? And by the way, there's some artwork changing. There's going to be some cool stuff coming on with me and you in the thumbnails and all that. But side note. So I had in my head, I said, I'm going to do probably about 10 of these and I'm going to be sick and tired of it. I said, I'm going to say, why did I do this? And in my head, I'm going to have to be like pushing through because of timing, because of this. And I got to tell you something. I look forward to this.
Why don't we do 2 a day, every day? Let's
look forward to them.
Let's go. No. For me, I agree 100%. And for me, I haven't seen so many of these shows. So for me, I've seen this one. I saw this one, the premieres. I've seen all the premieres. I've seen all the final shows. I've seen some pops here and there.
But even though I've seen it, I don't remember it.
Oh my God. It's just the fans who've seen it over and over and love it so much. They must love the knucklehead.
So point is, I am enjoying the hell out of it.
Good.
And so just the whole thing, I could be anywhere. I mean, I am changing rooms.
You are actually.
At this point, she's going to have me on the roof the next time with I don't know, with just my
knee
phone.
Pads.
Yeah.
You keep banging into your desk.
I hope I don't have knee pads on here. I don't know what's happening, but listen, it's going to be a mess. But also, I always want to give the one thing I love about this is while there's always going to be idiots and dipshits and nitwits in this world, because that's just the way it is. It's kind of, there's two jokers. There's 2 jokers in every deck. There's always going to be, is there 2 jokers or is there 4? There's 2.
There's 2.
Okay. So there's 2 jokers in every deck. And the way I look at it is this. The one thing that I'm so proud of is the positivity that people not just being happy, but they're like super positive, right?
Yeah.
So I like to spotlight that positivity. Obviously, we talked about the SOA Mayan Addicts, the Kim Coates crew, all our regulars who are just unbelievable, right? But there's certain other ones that I've been noticing on Twitter and all that, and certain people that I got to give a shout out to. Because
please do.
I have to. And if you have anybody too, and you know what? If anybody doesn't like this, what am I going to tell you? Oh, that's funny too. One numbnuts, one guy said, when you guys say, who cares? Theo's like, it means that Theo's like a narcissist. He thinks like he's better than everyone. And that he thinks he's bigger than he is. And it's kind of rude that he said, who cares? And you know what I think about that?
Who cares? Like, who cares?
Who cares?
That's so ridiculous.
It's actually the polar opposite. We're saying who cares because it's not a big deal and you really shouldn't care about it. But again, to each his own.
And we can't. But between you and me, just let's pretend we're not even talking to our family right now. Right. We are talking to our family. Right. Between you and me, by saying who cares, it means I didn't know the answer. I wasn't good enough to figure it out. But the fans are on top of us, and that's why they like to listen to us, because we get to share with them so many beautiful little things that happened in that day or in that month or on that motorcycle. That's what people care about. So when we say who cares, it just means we've got a sense of humor. We are Laurel and Hardy, and we care so much, we're just going to say, who cares?
And we also don't pretend we don't know things that we don't. We're sitting here just being ourselves.
Correct.
Just give me a break. Yeah. Point is, the person who thinks I'm apparently a narcissist and whatever for saying who cares. Okay. So William Morey 14 on Twitter is amazing. I think I'm saying it right. He just writes the greatest things, and I just want to tell him that I appreciate you. I see everything you post, and he actually posed an incredible question, which I'm going to get to later.
Oh yeah, this guy William Morey 14.
He's amazing.
He's kind of new, and we've got him.
Yeah, he's great.
Him in a headlock,
and he's a good guy.
Going anywhere.
He's a good guy. Yeah. Sarah Burkert, Burkart is amazing, and just been with us from way in the back, and I just appreciate her tremendously. And listen, there's so many other people, obviously my whole crew who's been there from the beginning, Lindsay Apple and other people that have been there and always big part of Reaper Reviews, big part of posting all the time. Kathis, Kathis.
We've got Rosie, we've got
Fiona.
Mandy. We've got Fiona. We've got Rachel. We've got
Amazing
everyone
people.
over in England and Italy and Germany. They even when they don't understand, because I talk fast now. I take on your rhythms, which I'm very ashamed of. I usually have my own rhythms, but I'm picking up
Toronto
more of
rhythm.
yours.
You're getting a Toronto rhythm.
It's a Hamilton more.
Yes.
Cornfields. It's a cornfield Hamilton thing. Anyway, they go, even when I don't understand all of it, I just can't wait to see the next one and hear the next one and watch the next one. That's a good fucking thing in today.
And a lot of people ask for subtitles. YouTube, we don't control it. Apparently, YouTube, we're trying for people in other, in other countries and all that. I'm investigating it every day. Apparently, I don't know.
But YouTube is not everywhere?
No, it is, but I guess they can't get subtitles. They can only hear it in English. They can only hear certain ones. So we're trying on that.
Oh, I see.
And then one other person who is not just a fan, but also my brother. And we were on Luke Cage together. He's a 10,000-yard rusher in the NFL. He seventh pick in the first round out of Virginia, has an incredible career. One of very few 10,000-yard rushers in the NFL. Thomas Q. Jones always promotes our show. Always does everything.
Good. Thomas, we love you, buddy.
He's my man, TJ. And TQ, if you're listening to this, Kim and I obviously just love you, brother. And you're the man. So all that being said, here I am in the new room. You are in this would be your home base, right?
This right now, during these crazy, beautiful, crazy times, I'm lucky enough to be Canadian and American. I have places in both. And right now we are hanging out in Western Canada. This is my home base. It's just much easier when, you are back to work. I've been back to work. We got things coming up. It's so much easier to be in Canada and not have to quarantine rather than being in America. I miss my home. I miss my buddies, but I'll be back in the new year. I got a big thing going on in LA at end of January. I'll be home in LA soon enough. But right now, yes, Western Canada.
So you'll be there through the holidays working. You'll be there probably.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. I'll be there probably just after Christmas. That's would be my guess. My people will call your people. We'll let you know.
Yeah, and you haven't done you're going. Oh, but you have. Have you done what I did, where you were getting tested 3 times a week, doing filming all that?
We did that film in August. That's right.
Yeah.
We did that already. That's done. That's in the book. So I'm like you. I'm doing something coming up. I won't be able to tell the people for another couple of weeks on these beautiful things, but it's in Ontario. We do have so many. It's just things are a little bit better up here. Obviously, we're listening to scientists, and we're taking care of each other a little bit more, and things are getting back on track in this new normal. Masks, shields, 6 feet away, but the cameras are rolling more up here. They're starting to in the States. SAG's getting it together. I'm glad to hear. I'm sure you've heard.
Yeah,
it is starting, but we still have to be very careful to make sure that this doesn't spread anymore before we can call it the new normal. Right?
Yeah, it was a true pleasure just filming up there and doing it all. So
good.
So let's get into this, because I got to tell you something. Season 3, episode 1. I give season 3 a lot of jabs. I kind of beat up season 3 a lot when people talk about it, except for the finale, which we've already done. And a lot of people would always say, like, oh, what's your favorite episode? That's the first thing. And then they say, what don't you like? And I'm always like, season 3 was whatever. This is our 3rd episode in season 3. Next week, we'll do our 4th.
I can't believe that. I thought we've done more, but good for us.
Next week, we're doing season 3, episode 6, which is something that everyone wanted because of the Kozik Tig thing. But before we get to that, you and I had seen this at a premiere. Yeah. I didn't remember any of it. Thank God for the preview, which we always say, because you and I are doing these on the fly. This is a giant episode.
Theo, I've never taken, we won't get to all of them. We don't have the time. No. I've taken 9 pages of notes.
Most notes I've ever taken.
I've taken 5 pages, maybe 6, maybe 4, maybe 7. Not like this. I don't even know what the hell. So the fans, let's go. The fans, I got reminded about S-O, for a couple of reasons. We last left this show last season, episode 2, right? Have we talked about it yet? Have we even done that show?
So what we've done from season 3, obviously we've done the finale because that was the most recommended one. We did that. And then we did,
I don't know.
I'm looking, we did one more episode in season 3 that a lot of people asked for. This is me pulling it up, guys. So if you see me looking down, deal with it. Here, view the channel, playlist. Okay. So for season 3, we did Caregiver. Remember that one we did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was
Stephen
season.
King. Yeah.
That was season 3. You might even hear it right now. That was season 3. I don't even know the name, the number, but whatever. It was season 3. Caregiver is what
I just want to know if we did the final season of season 2. Do you know if we did that episode 13? We have
episode 12. Great. No, because you remember 13. How it ends. It ends 13. Sorry, episode 13. No, we didn't, because that would end at the pier, and we haven't done that yet.
Okay, great. Because my point is, here we go. It's the next day. Oof. It's the next day. Oof. Now the fans have to take 6 months off. 6 months. How do they do it?
I don't know.
How do fans of this show, season 3, Charlie's on the pier. We'll talk about it more when we do it. But it's episode 13, season 2. Baby's gone. Baby's gone. And now we start the whole. Like a day later, maybe the same day, Charlie's on the ground, hammered, drunk, upset. So it's the same, but it's 6 months later for the fans. How do the fans do it? How do
I'm not even opening my notes yet because I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change my mind now. When we watch all the seasons, I'll have a recalibrate my opinion on the show.
Well,
and what I thought. But season 3 now. Just from we've only done 2, we're about to do the third episode in the way we do it. I'm fucking blown away because I'm now thinking what you thought, which is I know what happens at the end of season 2, even though we haven't done it because we've watched the finales. I know that we all were on the pier.
Correct.
And that he's gone, Abel's gone. They had to wait 6 months. We're out. Who knows what we're doing in real life? These people are frothing at the mouth to know what happened with Abel. And we come back. That in itself makes season 3 an amazing season just for that alone.
Our fans are doing this. They're just
twiddling
for 6 months. They're just, well, here we go. Let's yarn. Let's ride a bike. Let's go to work. Let's make love to our significant others. But when the fuck is September 7th coming? Yeah. When is September 4th coming? When is that next season dropping for SOA? Like, honestly, and one more thing and the fans need to hear this, our family, like we like to call them.
Yeah.
We start filming. We filmed that show starting in May every year. So fans are still waiting. They're waiting. We're filming May, June, July, August before we drop our first show in September. So I think for us being back in it after being off for 6 months, we stopped filming in November, I think, Theo. So December, January, February, March, April, May, like 5 months we had off, 5.5 months. But boy, yeah, the fans, man, it's a long way.
I just thought about something. We should call, because we said we call our fans family. What about calling them Samly? Sam Crow.
Samly. From Agent 644. I love that.
Agent 644.
Agent 644 goes Samly.
Hashtag Samly. There it is.
Hashtag Samly.
Samly from Agent 644 just came up.
Fucking A. No, I love it.
I haven't even popped this LaCroix yet. It's happened.
All right.
Now the ideas really start flowing. Okay, so here we go.
Montage.
Go where you were. Start where you were, because we wake up with Jax. Go to that.
So we wake up with Jax and we remember the harrowing scream on the pier, and it's Montage. And again, I think our show, even the other writers with Kurt, just excelled with these montage beginning and ends. They weren't always that way, but when they were, I feel now that I'm part of our family. I mean, I really am. I'm part of this whole watching crew now. I like them. They let me at least sit back with my heavy alcoholic beverage, watching this show going, all right, where are we? Where's Katie? Where's Tara? Where's Jax? And all of a sudden we see Katie outside a motel, and Tig is out there. We're in a motel. Tig's got the watch on Gemma. She's on the lam, man. She's right. And And then we took another little trip down. The cigar shop is closed. Now, Theo, because you remember more than I do, I'm so much older than you are.
Yeah, you are.
We didn't kill Zobel.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
We didn't kill him.
He got on a plane or something?
He got on a plane. And you and I, again, when we talk about those episode 12 and 13, we'll find out. But his cigar shop is closed. And there they are. Here's Sons of Anarchy. We're going to show the cigar shop is all closed up. Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before you go, I just want to write what I wrote because it just shows you how, because this is literally my writing right here on my phone. Opening with Jax by Crib. And I said, that song is killer. And then I wrote, fuck, I love this show. I literally wrote that with exclamation points because I was so in from the preview. I was in. So, you know, we talk about being part of the Samly, the Sam Crow family, the Samly. I'm in, right? Now, here's what I wrote, which I thought was interesting. I always find little things. Tara's kitchen with the stain. There's a stain there, right?
Yeah.
Foreshadowing, not that I probably think he knows, but ultimately will be the same kitchen where
she takes her demise.
My favorite episode. Yeah, my favorite episode, my favorite ending, right? Okay, so again, Jenna hiding out in it looked like the same house or the same set that ultimately Juice was hiding out at down the road.
You're talking about the motel? The motel?
No. Originally, yes, the motel.
Because Gemma's at a motel.
She's hiding out. Correct. She's at the motel with you outside.
On the lamp. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have on one of those jackets that we would wear. Okay. What are those? Explain that.
We took our cuts off. Gemma's on the lamb. There's no SOA. There's no Sam Crow. There's just me smoking a cigarette, and they were black.
But it's like a short sleeve jacket.
Some of them were. Was mine? I don't think mine was. I think mine was long sleeve. Actually, it was literally no cut. It's just an absolute. We're on the lamb. She's outside of Charming. She's up north a little bit, and we're not broadcasting that we're part of Sam Crow.
But we all wore the same ones. It was this kind of still a uniform thing that we would wear. They
maybe
looked the same. No, definitely, because I remember the way they fit. And
like I said, maybe, but good for you.
People will figure it out in the comments, but they are these jackets. They're like road jackets or whatever. And ultimately you're going to see them when we go to Belfast and all that.
When you go to Belfast, I don't, but I'm looking forward.
Belfast.
I know. Well, I can't wait to talk about that. And okay, good for you. No, I remember that now, kind of.
So I thought the Tara house thing was pretty interesting to me. Okay, just that. Okay. So we go to a close-up shot of John Teller, number 1 or 2. Who knows what John Teller that is in the picture? We're going to the guy in the picture. That's John Teller.
It is.
Right.
We're not sure which John Teller.
Not the same voice in the voiceover.
No.
Not the same. No. Could be a different one in pictures.
Yeah.
This John Teller is like the man of many faces.
I'm actually convinced that if we were at a bar right now and we had a Sam Crow quiz night, people would know exactly how many faces of John Teller. Was it 2? Was it 3? Was there 1? There's more than one.
There was a few. There was definitely more than one. I don't think I'm making that up, but that one was the most predominant. That one, but I know that guy also kind of shows up sometimes as an extra, you know.
He did. He was in the background and he let us know who was really playing in the show. And we went
exactly
back away.
So sometimes you might see John Teller at a party or something in the show. Okay. Then Opie and Chibs throwing Jax in the shower.
How does Ryan even pick him up?
He's strong. He's a big guy.
Like Opie. I mean, I'm just saying this was like 10 years ago. Like Ryan Hurst, he was beast. We're all pretty strong in that show. But he just picked him right up like he was a fireman, slung him over his shoulder, and took him right in the shower. I
love when Chibs calls people kid. Come on, kid.
Yeah,
come on,
kid.
I love that. I just love when he does that. It's just who he is. But this was the point. Ryan was in incredible shape at this moment.
Yeah, he sure was. He sure was.
Yeah.
Arms were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I knew in season 3 that Tig's gonna have to show his ass. So I was doing my best to make sure that my pot belly was long gone by the time.
Well, you were looking cool outside the room when they first showed Gemma. And again, we had to go back to, you know, Gemma's on the run. You got tasked with going with her, which again, what a cush job that is, because you don't got to be with all the jackals. You're on your own.
This was the beginning of Gemma Island for me.
Yeah.
This was it. We've already talked about when we met Stephen King. We've got a few more oil jobs coming up. We've got a few more where me and Gemma and Tara, some fun shit goes down in that house of Hal Holbrook's house.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the beginning of where I knew, Kim Coates knew that most of my early stuff, my first 4 episodes, were going to be with Gemma most of the time. And those were fun fucking times, man.
It is. And it's funny because now you kind of are one of the few people that could also understand what I was going through in the later seasons where you're not really with anybody. So you'd come in and work and we weren't there.
Correct.
You know, you were kind of on your own, and which is nice, right? Because instead of 11 people, 10 people being in makeup, you're there with like just Gemma and doing your thing. And
perfect.
Do
you want to run lines, Gemma? Sure, Kim. Do you want to run lines, Kim? Sure, Katie.
There's not 11 people making fun of each other, ripping each other. Everybody's doing push-ups.
Farting and yelling.
Farting and yelling. That's so true. Right. That should be what it's called, farting and yelling. Okay, so Gemma's, Gemma, we see them throwing chips, calls people kid. Okay, Gemma reaction to Clay on phone.
Oh, thank God you're bringing that up.
Most love I've ever seen her show to him. She's in the dark about Abel, which I totally forgot about.
When Gemma tells Clay she loves him over the phone, that might be the deepest love she's expressed to him.
I wrote the same thing.
Sometimes it's easier. Oh, and what do you think about this, Theo? You're smarter at this shit than me. Sometimes it's easier to do that really emotional shit over the phone than in person. Sometimes, and you can see Katie's face. Katie's face was, I sense she was scared. I sense she really did love Clay, and she does love Clay. And there was a lot going on for her, and to be able to say it into a phone like that was really important. And it came across big time for both of us.
Well, you said something there that's really interesting, which is true in life as well as in acting, I believe, which is one, it's a lot easier to say things over a phone. To somebody's
can
face
be
because you know, whether you can just say it, right? And you're not really looking, you know, they say the eyes never lie or whatever. Now in acting, you and I know this, you're only as good as your dance partner, right? You can do the best you can on your coverage, but the better your scene partner is, the better you are.
The better you are, 100%.
But that being said, sometimes when you're alone and it's just you and a phone, which is basically being alone, it's kind of good to act like that sometimes and express emotion and break down and kind of show love, because you're working with whatever is in your internal monologue, whatever's
100%.
going on inside your head. So she was incredible in that scene, and that's the most love she's ever shown for Clay. I mean, you and I both wrote it, so I'm sure everybody gets that. And it really showed how tight they were at that moment. So she's in the dark about Abel. Nobody's told her. And then we go to that obligatory Jack's shower scene before the credits, of course, right?
Gotta have it.
The drops coming down too.
Gotta have
it. They did it.
Really nice.
Beautiful shot.
Really nice shot. Really beautiful. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Who directed this one, but yeah. Awesome. Really good.
So then we get, we have a good Jackson Tara scene right after that credits roll.
I've written down, Tara is slowly turning into Jax's old lady. She's turning into this doctor / biker chick. Or wait, is she more biker chick / doctor? Like, she's really being pulled now from that whole Jax's old lady, doctor. Things are starting to happen in her mind for sure.
And he's kind of pushing her away because he's going through his stuff and he thinks that everything is, he just kind of feels like everything he touches goes wrong. Right. And he's just a bad guy. So there's something I noticed in that too, because I notice all the dumb shit. He has that hoodie on that just says Son, S-O-N, which I loved. I never wore one on the show. That's such a great.
I never did either. Was he the only
hoodie.
one?
I think so. It's such a great hoodie. It's a great shirt. It's got the sweatshirt. It just says SON. I mean,
wow.
I'm
going to have to notice that more. Good for you.
Yeah,
Rossi.
I don't have one. I wish I had one. They're great. I never wore anything from Sons of Anarchy in my personal life, but I do think that that's a pretty great one. Also, Clarence is at his best, and you know who I mean by Clarence, which is Clay. Somebody said nobody ever calls Clay Clarence ever on the show, and that's his real name.
That's his real name, Clarence Morrow. Yeah, that's it. Think about that.
Has anybody ever said Clarence ever?
No. We should have done it more when we were filming with him. I should have for sure. Hey, Clarence, take it down a notch. Clarence, give me that cigar when you're done with it. Hey, Claire. No.
We'll do it in the Christmas episode. In the Christmas episode, we'll do it. We're going to do it.
Clarence, I love it. I love it.
So again, this is what I said. I've mentioned this before, but this was the moment I realized it. If Jax is an action figure, and if you're always going to remember Sons and immortalize it in your brain, this is the Jax. He's got the long, super long hair. His beard's on point. He's got the hoodie with the sun. He's got the cut. It's sewn on. Remember, the whole thing is sewn back on. This is the Jax before the shaved head, before when we first started where no one knew. So this is that image that I always remember. So this is the season that I always remember him from. So his grief is and feeling like he's a danger, right? Like he's a danger to everyone is a huge turning point for that character, because Jax was the hero in the beginning, right? In the beginning, the first bunch of seasons, he's the hero. And then we start to see like kind of the darker side, which I think this is the beginning. These are the seeds of it, not to use another episode title, but these are the seeds of him starting to feel that everything he touches goes wrong. And he's using that to push her away and that she doesn't belong here. It's
huge. And and on that note, I want to ask you a question. Is not that it was a common theme between Jax and Tara, but that push, pull, it did go on. Mm-hmm. It did go on as loving couples. Forget about being Jax Teller. Anybody has that push and pull thing going on, right? And I think Charlie, the reason why Charlie for me in season 3 begins to be iconic is because we've already had the Clay and Jax get into it early in season 1. They're gonna split up. He's going nomad in season 2. Gemma tells the truth about what happened to her, brings the boy and the father back together in our show. Now we're season 3, and his son has been stolen from him under his watch. His son, who is getting better, who Maggie saved, who God's going to give them a little gift and a healthy little baby boy now, he's gone. In fact, right now, he could be dead. He could be never seen again. And so Charlie's an actor, and I've always said this, when you are given, you are so numb to things because of the pain, you speak nothing but the truth because none of it matters anymore. Mm-hmm. And that scene with him and Tara pushing her away and you can't be with me anymore because everything that I touch turns to shit, right? It's really deep for Jax. And I think he at the end of this episode, which we'll get to in about an hour and a half at this rate, at the end of this episode, when Clay tasks him over Half Sack's body to show something in front of the guys, because he's lost. It's just, I couldn't, and I wasn't there that night. I'm still on the run with Gemma. So to see it on the TV last night for me was, you guys were all spectacular in that slow motion. Anyway,
and again, I think that, what you said, I think sometimes pain can bring, anger, which could be false words. But I think a lot of times if, you go through a significant amount of loss, or you're definitely a feeling of pain and anger, not just as an actor, but as a person, that truth just kind of comes because you start to think like, I got nothing to lose anymore.
No, that's right.
Those people are the most dangerous to other people because a lot of people don't want to hear the truth all the time, So I think when you fully find yourself, and whether that be through multiple loss or through traumatic experiences, you start to be really honest with people, and people are just like, whoa, that's a little too much for me. And I think at that moment she was broken by it. So yeah. We're in the field with Leroy, which was right across from our set.
But before we do that, I have to just say that when Jax leaves, Maggie gets to now, for all of our family out there, our new family of fans of beautiful peeps listening and watching, as an actor, when you were told, okay, destroy the room, destroy it. Now, we had Steve Frankel, we had David Frederick, two of the best camera operators in the entire world. Davey and Steve were our two faves. They're still doing the show. They did them all, and they're still doing it. You just don't know where they are doing it, in their basements. These two guys, two cameras. Maggie Sift was shown by the set, Anthony Medina. They would walk around and they would go, this can come off, this can be careful with this glass here, or this is breakable. And then you know what they do? They go, and Stephen, I think it was Stephen K. directed this. Sorry if it's not, I apologize. But you back up and you go, Dave, are you ready? Steve, are you ready? And the boys get their focus. And then Maggie gets one shot. It's destroy the room. And those are, as an actor, some of the most fun things ever, because you don't plan anything. You don't know really what you're going to do, which is all improv and instinctual, which are the most fun times for an actor anyway. That was fun for Maggie, and she just fucking destroyed that little pantry. That little room, right.
It is Stephen K. who directed it, who's a beast. And just
Stephen K. I love you, Steve.
I love Stephen too. I can only hope he's listening to this. So we cut to the field, which was right across from our set. It looks like it's on another planet, but it wasn't. We're with Leroy. Super industrial. That shows that's North Hollywood.
Where was that?
North Hollywood, right across from the set.
It was.
Right across.
I know exactly where you're talking.
Yep.
With the big telephone wires and the open dirt
just a
everywhere.
Giant open field.
Just a giant open field. Yeah, keep going. Love it.
And my man ER is there in the background, and then they bring out the guy they call Mr. Magoo, who actually was the uncle from Napoleon Dynamite. There's a
love him.
Fact there.
Love
He's
him.
Amazing in that scene. So we do that little scene, which is typical Sons, which I love. So Hal is on his way up. We go to Hal. Is he getting a promotion?
He is. Oh, yeah. Unser's going to hand it down. Unser's ready to walk. Unser's ready to hand it to Hal. Hal's going to become the guy.
Is he retiring? Was this on again? I'm questions.
He's got the cancer. He's got the cancer.
Big casino. Yeah,
He's got the big casino. Yeah. So he doesn't have a lot of time left. So he wants to hand it while he can help the young one along. You take over, and I'll watch you while I get high on my.
We'll know that when we get to season 2, but he did that on purpose.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So Clay, we see the crew riding up. By the way, maybe I'm always looking for it. The Clay double is in full effect in that scene. If anybody wants to catch it, you could see it. Like, that's the most I've ever seen the Clay double in camera.
A little too close.
Too close.
The greatest things about anyone when you use a double, right? You don't want to show your face. Sides fine, hair, back, but you don't really, No. But you can get away with certain things on a bike because it's kind of quick. That was a slow pullout, and it was a double. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're pulling up to the pier. One thing I want to say about Perlman in this, he was jacked in this season. This is the biggest I've ever seen Ron.
No, you want to talk about an action figure?
Oh my goodness.
Perlman, I think, has one because his arms are the size of the Hulk. His face is sculpted. His hands are beautifully made up to make him have that arthritis that he can't really ride as well.
Yeah.
He just was in prime physical shape. Things were so good for Clarence.
Clarence was jacked at that moment.
Yeah, my favorite.
So we pull up to the pier. You have now, you weren't a part of any of this.
No.
Okay. That was something else. That pier in itself was down by San Pedro. So we'd go down there. You remember it from the season before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're down there. you and Gemma, we're down at the
Well,
pier.
but hey, let me add to what you're saying there. So, and these little subtle things again that we brought up about Jax's character. When you guys get to the pier, Jax didn't even want to go on the
He's
pier.
out of it.
He's out of it. We're going back to the scene of the crime for him.
Correct.
We're going back to the last time we saw him on the last episode of season 2 to the pier. So he doesn't even, right?
He doesn't want to be
and
there.
then he doesn't want to be there. So he's looking around and he picks up, I'm going to call it a toque.
Sure.
You can call it a lid or a hat or whatever you beautiful Americans call it, but I'm going to
beanies. They call
a
it
beanie.
Yeah.
Beanie's even better.
Yeah.
So
Baby
he picks
beanie.
up
It's a
that
baby.
baby. Right. So he picks up a baby beanie, right?
Those
of
things are
Abel.
amazing with the Reaper on it.
Holy shit. I think Fox sold those things for $2 million each when they did that.
Every kid has those. They look like Abel. And by the way, this is no joke. In the neighborhood I live in Austin, 3 kids are named Jax. Wait, from Sons of Anarchy.
Of course.
Like that's the first thing they tell me when I meet the kids. They're like, "This is my son. His name's Jax," and I'm like, "Oh,
Jackson or Jax."
And they're like, "Oh,
man.
it's from the show," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." Like, there's a lot of Jax.
I go,
Tigs.
I go. How about Tig? They go,
Pets.
my turtle.
Yeah, turtle.
My
dog.
cat.
I have dogs.
Because the cat's crazy. Oh yeah, you got to. I get cats.
Dogs,
they're
fish.
Nuts. Yeah. Yeah.
No kids. They're not naming kids Juice or Tig.
Tig, what are you crazy? What are you nuts?
Can you imagine naming your kid Tig? Can you imagine if somebody said, "This is my kid Tig," and it's from Sons of Anarchy? I'd be like, "What's wrong with you?"
You can call him Tigger. Call him Tigger if you want, but it's Tig.
But there's a lot of kids named Jax.
Yeah.
A lot of kids
moms
named
love
Jax.
that.
So he's got the beanie. He finds that, which is puts it in his pocket. Then there's a move where Clay takes it and says, "You'll get this back when we find them, because we will find him."
Funny. Yeah, beautiful. Because we will find him. I love that. I mean, you're not. And he says, "I'll give it back when you find him. When we find him, because we are gonna find him." I love all that shit.
All right, so I just wrote this, and this is literally what I wrote. You and Gemma scene when she's on the run. I need to know all about this. You're on the island.
See,
what a great scene.
This was a really good scene because I wrote this down. It's the first time you see the two of them talk to one another really in this episode. And she wants out. She's getting stir crazy. She's got to go. And I wrote down that they're both like wild horses, right? Physical toughness is not welcomed by Gemma. Too many ghosts still with what happened to her with Zobel's crew. Everybody is looking for Gemma. Okay, so when I grab her, the first reaction is again ghosts coming back to her.
Yeah, and you
Tig
know it too. You know it. You see it.
I say sorry right away. I see it. But when she's the boss. Gemma's the matriarch. Gemma's wearing the crown. But I'm the guy tasked to make sure she doesn't fuck up, run away, do the things she's not supposed to. So I'm still the man in this situation. But Gemma and Tig, again, they've had all this past. I get a lot of things on social media, Theo, asking, "Did you two ever do it? Did you two?
No,
did
the
you love
closet
one
was
another?
the closest,
Did you?
right?
Yeah, 100%. But I again, Sutter was again so. That locomotive just kept going forward. We didn't deal with the past that much. It was always going forward. So I enjoyed that motel stuff with Gemma, and then I enjoyed the Hal Holbrook stuff coming up at his house. So yeah.
So yeah, and again, just you two have, they use the word a lot in acting, and in life, but the chemistry between you two is amazing. There seems to be a tremendous amount of respect when you guys are acting with each other, which you don't see a lot. There's a lot of like patience when you guys are acting with each other and you're listening to each other, which we know if you're not listening, which a lot of actors sadly don't do anymore. But the listening is, you can see it. So I love that. So we go back to the pier. My guy, Dorian Missick, who I love, is coming down. They're coming down to do something to the boat. We get into that chase scene, and there it is, right? Season premiere, big old chase scene.
So can I ask you a question? Did we get better and better stunt drivers every year?
We had more money.
We had more money.
Yeah, because you noticed they did an accident in that scene, like literally a car hit into
No, it was
another
amazing.
car.
I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And when we start doing that, when shows start doing that, you have more money, and you have more time, and you have better people you can hire to do shit like that.
That's how you know you're a hit.
Yeah, man. I agree. 100%.
That's like that French Connection stuff. Like you're able to do more stuff as opposed to like, how fast can we get this? What's the coolest it can look and the cheapest? And how can we have these guys here the shortest amount of days? Well, now you got a whole stunt unit doing stuff. And that's where we were at that point. So it looks great. And again, it's just, you could tell the budgets got bigger. It's a great thing. We're riding through. And I remember it like it was yesterday, that because we were really doing those rides. We were flying
you guys
through
all
the
did.
streets.
Yeah.
And, you know, the barbed wire and Opie getting stuck, and it's great. So then coming up is, there's two things coming up. Okay, big standoff where we stand off with those guys, where we pull up, and it really does show how Sons weren't really scared of anybody. Like Sons weren't scared of anyone. We just kind of were in it, right? Opie and Jax pull up. We're always outnumbered. Didn't matter. We're ready to go at all times. Bobby's got a gun to his head. He doesn't flinch.
Well, no, this is what we did. Like most people, when you pull up and there was 18 AK shotgun guns coming from guys you don't really know, most guys are going, well, hey, this is what we do.
Yeah, this is a bother. That's what it feels like.
Shit, I'm not going to make my lunch now.
No.
My coffee break is not going to be as long today. I mean, because we're Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
And everyone, and Bobby put his foot right up on his bike right away, kept those nice little goggles on. And I get my question to you, because you were there that day. How did Clay and Jax get there so fast? Like when you guys took off, those two still have a scene about the toque and you hang on, kid, we're going to find your bait. And all of a sudden they're there.
Well, like, Jax got there later because he helped out Opie. So Jax and Opie pulled up actually last.
So they were even,
Clay was there first.
Did he fly there on a helicopter?
You know, I got to think that in this big chase, in the suspension of disbelief, which is what it is, that somehow they caught up to us after the 10-minute scene. But let's be honest, it was to save time and get them in the scene. And
fuck yeah, it sure was.
Yeah, you have to just get past the reality of it.
Clarence wasn't even sweating. He got off his bike.
Clarence was not sweating. And he was so cool in season 3. He's just cool in season 3. Cool. He found himself he found that character. So now we go to something that, and speaking of, I just want to say that we're in this big scene, this big standoff with these guys. No Tig there, which is so odd, right? Because you're usually like first guy on the side.
I'm certainly right there by Clay and Charlie for sure.
Ready to go. So that was kind of odd not seeing that.
Yeah.
So we go to the cemetery.
Yeah.
I always love the cemetery. There's always a calmness. Maybe I like him in real life too, but there is a calmness.
I do.
And a quiet. I do too. I do too. They're so quiet and calm. I just went to one of the last times I was in New York. I went to my uncle's one in Brooklyn. I remember just being there for a little while because it wasn't that cold. And it was just, it's one of the few places where it's literally quiet and just calm.
And it's just real human beings are there.
That's right.
They're not talking back.
No, everybody's there. Everybody's there to be introspective and like have a moment.
How about that? How about that? And that's what graveyards do. And that graveyard, because our Samly needs to hear about this. That graveyard, boy, we were there countless times in Altadena, Pasadena area, countless times, right by where I live up there. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, we love those days because it did exactly that, Theo. And we go there a couple of times, I think.
Right where I used to live. Yeah, I used to be. Be at work pretty quick.
Yeah, boom.
That was a big cemetery. Yeah. So again, when we're there, and then there's something that happens there. I'm going to tell you something. Piney comes up. I don't know how many we've done of these. We say there's 92. For all I know, we've done 90 or we've done 6 or I'm in the Matrix. Yeah. I don't know what's happening, but I will tell you this. This is the first time I had to stop myself from crying. I don't know what it was, but when he said, I miss JT.
I'm so glad
I welled up.
That affected you.
It really got me.
And so did Charlie, and so did I, and so did our fans who watched that show 8 years ago, and us tonight or last night.
Going.
And that piney shit, I have it right here. Love that piney shit so much. Whenever it comes, I love it. And for the first time last night, I'm thinking, is William Lucking like the ghost of John Teller? Like, is he the ghost of John for Jack? Where his spirit is coming out of this man? Because anyway, beautiful. And Lucking, Billy. I knew Billy. When that scene was almost ready to be over and he went to the van to just pull out of there, he touched his shoulder and he pulled on his tug or his cut. He pulled his cut, just a little love pull. And that affected Charlie. Charlie was almost gone. And that was lucky, man. Affected me. God bless Billy. He was so good.
He just has, we use the word, there's a gravitas to that man that many actors, it makes me think of like Gene Hackman and certain.
Well, you just said the French Connection with Gene Hackman. Yeah. Hackman is like Lucky. They are the same ilk of that generational actor that is a different time. Different time.
He has the greatest story too, and I'm not going to tell it because I'll destroy the story. But with what's his name, who played Patton?
Oh yeah, what's his name? Yeah. Scott.
Yeah, George C. Scott.
George C. Scott.
Can I tell the story? Because I have to.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Okay. So he's doing a film with George C. Scott. He told me this story because I was asking him about all his past stuff because I'm crazy about Hollywood history. So he's telling me about this. He works with George C. Scott and he's a young actor. Bill is young. Yeah. George C. is George C. at this point. He's,
when he came out of his mother, he was 65 years old.
Yeah.
And he stayed that way though. And he's big in life, big in acting.
One of the biggest actors, one of the biggest everything. And if anybody who's listening to this knows who George C. Scott is, and if you don't, go look him up and go see Patton and everything else he's in. But he does a movie with him. And George, he wants to meet him because he has a scene with him and he just wants to meet him before to maybe even run lines. And
hi, Mr. Scott.
Hi, Bill Mr. Scott. Now, Bill's a big guy. Let's talk about how big Bill is. Big guy. Piney, we're talking about.
He came out of his mom. He was already 5'8".
Big guy. Yeah, 5'8" on the table.
Yeah.
So he goes up to George C. Scott, knocks on his trailer and says, Mr. Scott, hi, I'm, Bill Lucky and I'm playing, whatever in the movie. Oh, come in, whatever. And he says, we have the scene coming up.
Oh, I remember this. Yes.
And it's one of my favorite. I literally think about it every time I'm going to act. I think about it.
No, as soon as you said George, he said, come in.
Come into the Winnebago, come into the trailer.
Shut the door.
Yeah. And George C. Scott offers him a scotch, pours a big scotch for himself and a big one for Bill.
That's right.
And Bill says, as a young actor, no, I'm fine. We have the scene. We're going to do the scene. And George C. Scott says, only a fool would go out there so well. It's the best line I've ever heard about being on set and acting because he's
only a fool would go out there sober. No, think about that.
Think about that.
So that's
in the 70s.
Tell that story.
Think about that.
Perfect.
Only a fool would go out there sober. And if you've done any acting or you've done anything where there's tons of people and you just think about the weight of that coming from someone like George C. Scott, it's amazing. It's an amazing story. I love it. Okay. So Piney, that got me. Just an amazing scene. So great scene with Tara and Stahl.
Look at Tara throwing it down with Stahl.
Badass.
No, throwing it down.
Yeah.
You had Allie going to her car and Maggie like pushing the door. Like these two gals, they were ready to start to scrap. And then when at the end, when Tara says, you stay away from my family.
Listen, Stahl is truly the ultimate bad guy. I mean, I know Sons gets no recognition for anything. Like we don't get recognition. We never got recognition for awards. We don't get even when I hear people talk about, the greatest shows of all time, like for some reason, they still they'll say every other show. And I'm like, this is so silly because, Sons has got the biggest fan base. It's all around the world. It's got whatever it is. Hollywood always had this problem with Sons, but Stahl is one of the greatest villains ever. On television. Ever. Sure.
I'm not even sure Allie knew when she said yes to doing this character, I'm not even sure she knew the scope of her arc and what she was going to do in the 3 seasons that we had her. Honest to God, fucking phenomenal.
The things she does with her breath and like the way she looks at people and the way whatever. So then Clay comes up and Clay gives her the business in that scene. That was full on threatening Clarence.
Clarence tells her anything happens to his grandson, there will be, I'm going to quote, okay? There will be a gun shoved up where the sun don't shine and blow her black heart out. Now,
Wow.
I stopped the TV, Theo. I sat back. I poured myself another scotch. I came back. I rewinded it and I watched it again. Because in that moment, for the first time, one of my favorite movies, if my family doesn't know this, is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. First Disney cartoon movie,
Amazing.
First animated, very first one. I was a little kid. I was like, what's happening? What's happening? And that witch in the Snow White witch had an apple that then turned black. It was this red that turned black. And when he said, I'll blow that black heart out, she reminded me of the witch from Snow White. And I was just like, wow, it's nice when you have analogies and memories.
Yeah, that's cool
anyway,
too. And
beautiful,
it just shows what an enemy
scene.
she was. And that fact that pulled up that memory shows, but it was a beautiful scene. So Jax is back at home, seeing Gemma's number and the rec room. He says another Jesus Christ, he sees again, Jesus Christ is one of those words, one of those sayings on this show that is.
Were we allowed to say that a lot? We couldn't say the F word.
That's why.
Couldn't say God a lot unless it was in context of actual Bible or right. But shit, a lot of shits, a lot of Jesus Christ.
That's why when people say, why did you guys say Jesus Christ so much? What you have to understand is it was a filler.
That's right.
For not being able to curse.
To swear, really. That's right.
Apparently, they're allowed to curse in the Mayans. We've talked about this in a previous episode. They're allowed to curse on TV now. They're allowed to say things we were not.
More rules.
And because
we had more rules. Yeah.
We had more rules. So Jesus Christ was a big filler for us. So that goes to Gemma on the run and behind Tig's back. She's trying to get away. I loved it. Go ahead. Because I got to tell you one of my favorite parts of that scene, but go ahead.
But what kind of a fucking watchdog am I? What am I watching the Yankees on my bike? Here's Gemma with the hat on, and she just happens to sneak away from the. Where the fuck am I?
Might have been watching the Red Wings.
Honestly, I'm completely dropped my. I'm just completely fail.
She sneaks out, and the best part about that, you have to understand the little nuances that I'm wondering if it was written in the screen. In the script.
What?
She goes to hotwire the thing, but she can't see it. Just to put on her glasses.
Oh, that's funny. I did see. I saw her.
She literally goes to do it, and she goes, "For fuck!" Like she goes and has to put on her glasses because she can't see the hot wires.
I know. I love it. She probably did that on her own.
Amazing.
Katie probably did that on her own.
Amazing
Stunning,
choice
beautiful.
As an actor.
No,
amazing.
Great. It's great. It's real.
And to be frustrated by it, that you can't see.
Yeah.
It's like you with the clicks.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to click them on and you don't even know.
Don't even know. That's exactly right.
So I just thought that was such an amazing. Then she stabs this guy in the crotch, as you call it, his joint.
Yeah.
Go from there because it's a great scene with you two in the room.
Yeah, we go from there. She calls me Tigger. Like I don't even know when the first time or the second time or the third time was when Gemma called Tigger, but she got away with Tigger more than anyone on that show. And that, again, I just wrote down, she's the boss. I mean, I just, what's my thing? Look at Tara, biker chick. Oh yeah, no, that's coming up on the operating room. Yeah, no, just, again, Gemma stabbing someone, don't ever fuck with her. It was funny though.
Right near his business.
You know what? Right by the business.
And you guys, you're again, what I always love about Tig, and it is, and you probably know this, but what a realization it is of his humanity when he sees someone do something bad And then he's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? And I'm like,
how could you even think about doing something like that?
But like what Tig
I do
has
it all.
done.
I do it all and more. In my sleep, I do it. And then I said, do you know how many favors we owe this guy now? Like, I gave him my phone number. I'm going to give him my next bike. Before I kick him in the ass and say, get the hell out of here. But yeah, Gemma, funny.
It's great. So then we go to Jackson Tara again, him telling her to go. There's so many great moments in that scene, and it's such a well-written scene. But one of the things I said in it, and I wrote the line down, we don't know who we are until we are connected to someone else. What a great line that is. I mean, come on. You wrote it down too. What a great, look at this. Kim, we are simpatico.
Not only is this our podcast now, we're actually writing the same shit. And I'm telling you, peeps, we do not phone each other.
No, we don't.
We have no time for that shit.
Other. No.
It's one of the great lines.
We're lucky we can record these things.
And you're so good at this kind of shit, Theo Rossi, John. We don't know who we are till we are connected to someone else. So
break that down. Break that down.
Because a lot of that line is being done right now by a lot of people around the world, this beautiful planet that we are slowly fucking up, but hopefully we get it back. Right. And so people are really having time to reflect or think about, or their loved ones, or maybe they're by themselves, which is so lonely right now, more lonely than they've ever been. Mm-hmm. Anxiety is everywhere, right? So depression. So think about that line. I mean, it's true.
I took it as, for me, and everybody will respond to this different, because I never want anyone who is alone to feel like that the line doesn't relate to them, because we've all been to someone at one point, whether it be our parents or siblings, a relationship, a friend, a teacher, somebody, anybody. What I took about that is that we are egomaniacal human beings who are based in narcissism when we are alone. It's what we do. We think everything is happening to us. We think that it's all about us, right? This is what is so beautiful and yet crazy about having children, right? Like, children are just living in their own world, that whatever they want, they want, and whatever they need, they need. And if they don't get it, they cry. And if they don't, it's just the way it is. But when you don't really know who you are, you never think about yourself until you're attached to another human. And you're forced to go, do I do that?
Yeah.
Is that who I am? Is that this? So I thought that was it's so deep, that line.
Very, very deep. And a beautiful time of the show to say it. And again, it allows that Jax Tara relationship to continue and go forward and reflect. Because trust me, this is the first show of season 3. We've got 3 more seasons of that beautiful love affair, that gnarly love affair between Tara and Jax coming up. So that helped bounce it right forward.
So we go right to Hal Holbrook. Before we do that, you guys know, this is what I wanted to say. I needed to say this. This is the first time we're seeing the caregiver, Amelia. Because it's obviously episode 1, season 3.
Yeah.
Your reaction to her is priceless. I just have to tell you, did you know prior to this? Like,
what's that? Did I know that we were going to hook up?
Yes.
No, not at all.
Oh, wow.
No,
that was a choice.
No, in fact, I have a couple of things that I do want to say about that. Like, Monique she was beautiful. Amelia, beautiful, great actress, Batman. She's been in so many things. Just, again, these stunning character, beautiful actors who come on our show, whether it's 1 show, 5 shows, 2 seasons, they loved it. And I was so fortunate and tickled to be with her. I adore her. That people have to understand that this is the little shit that I certainly do, and I think most actors should do if they don't. And that is, when I walked in, first of all, I wrote down that Hal Holbrook house was one of my all-time favorite sets of all time. It was a house. But I mean, going to a set, it was one of my all-time of all the things I've done. Mm-hmm. That was just Hal, Monique, Tara, me, Gemma, Charlie and Ron come in at the very last minute before we all split. Stephen King shows up to just put the icing on the cake. When I walked in, all I cared about is Tig. And this was ad-libbed. I said, Tig, Like I let her know my name. That wasn't in the script.
Mm.
He just came in behind Gemma and they came in. And I said, actually, Steve, this is just give me a, and I made sure that I walked in first. I checked out the room. I made sure that no one was in that room. I'm going to a house that I don't even know who the fuck. There's some chick who's opening the door, but Gemma seems to know at least where she's at. She hasn't told me much, but I just love that ad lib of I'm Tig.
Oh, and you look like a lion in that scene. I mean, that was
ready to go.
Yeah,
ready to go.
You know, that's why I wanted to ask you that you knew what was coming up, because it was such a classic Tig, where I've watched Tig get mesmerized by people or things, which we'll talk about, Venus, Way Down, and certain things that Tig gets mesmerized. And you have such a great way of doing it. When you saw her, it's just like you see her and it's like, oh, okay, Tig's in a different zone. He's not paying attention to anything yet, checking the house, but it's on her for a minute, even if it's only for a brief second.
That's right. No, I definitely was. That's exactly what I think Sergeant at Arms should do. They better be checking everything out. I checked her out first, and I checked out the living room. Then I came back and I noticed when someone was in the other room, her dad's in the other room. I go to Amelia, wash up? Can I wash up?
Yeah.
To get away. Let's let those two have a moment. That's all that was. I wanted to get out of this room with her, Amelia, so these two could have a moment. And those are the things that Sutter and his team would write in for all of us to have a moment of, that was a nice thing to do.
Yeah, and I had to write about Hal here. I mean, he truly is a G. I could watch this dude all day, Hal Holbrook. You want to talk about levity and ferocity and gravitas and everything that you can say that an actor has. He's an incredible actor who's been in more things than, you know, Oscar nominated.
Then Perlman.
Perlman's
been in everything.
Just an amazing guy. But this pisses me off. I'm going to tell you why. I've watched some of these dipshits who get nominated for guest starring Emmys on shows. They're in the show for like one episode. And I've watched some of their work because I watched some of the shows, and I don't want to ever knock, because it's hard enough, this business. This guy, how he didn't get recognized for that role, what he was doing, what he was bringing, the emotion, and how he was playing the Alzheimer's. And if we remember correctly, his wife had just died in real life. I'm blown away by the way this guy played this role. And now that I'm watching it, and again, it just gets me slightly angry sometimes. It brought up like a feeling that I remember when we were filming, that we had the world. The world loved Sons. Like you couldn't, me and you couldn't, it was just, and not just love the show because of the bikes and because of the cool factor, but because of what was going on with the characters and the emotions and all this. But Hollywood just wasn't having it. They just weren't. It was like they just wanted to push us away at all times.
But we were that show that the ship had sailed. It sailed early. The reviewers, what certain people said to them, however they got pissed off at us or we at them. It wasn't even a personal thing. It just was the ship had sailed, and all of a sudden we got season 2 and season 3. And so the ship had sailed. They in fact,
they wouldn't come back. They didn't want to admit it.
They didn't want to admit it. In fact, they had so fucked up. So you get Hal Holbrook, that look that he has on his face up at Katie, and that they're dealing with the dementia and the Alzheimer's and losing of Rose. And it's so powerful and so beautiful for Gemma, who hasn't seen her dad, and she never got along with her mom, which all is in the writing real quick. And he goes, I'm sure Rose will be back soon. And Katie whispers, I hope not.
I didn't even hear that. That's amazing.
Oh no, she was like this, I hope not. Like to herself. And you know this, you're a funny motherfucker, man, and I love comedy. When you write shit like that, when it's all serious and there's tears and the audience is spellbound, and then and Hal goes, row, I'm sure she'll be back soon, and Katie goes, I hope not. Like that is
that's like hitting them with a gut punch right as they're about to well up. You're hitting with
the
thing.
audience, and it wasn't for her dad behind her, it was to herself, right? I hope not. God, I can't.
And obviously, because Katie's work, her comedic timing is off the charts.
Amazing,
from what she's done. So that's so funny. I got to go back and see that because I love stuff like that. So it really is. What a scene between them two. Getting old.
And it gets better and better. No, it's not. And it gets better and better. Anyway, so that's that. Now, Theo Kozik at Kozik.
Yeah.
Now, we're in season 3, episode 1.
Yeah.
We've seen Kenny before, have we not?
It seems like it.
I think so.
Man, don't ask me.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And I should know.
That's definitely not the first time.
Great. Okay. But what I love about that little meeting now, I mean, here we are. I think we're at the funeral now, aren't we?
We are. And I got to tell you something about that funeral. That's the the DL continuity shots.
No, you're going to tell me everything about that night because I wasn't there. But I do want to point out for our beautiful family, our Samly, that and it's Tommy, and it's Ronnie, and it's Booney, and it's Kenny, and Kozik goes, I want in, and everyone kind of looks around, and Bobby goes, that's Tig's call. Yeah. That's Tig's call.
And there's the beginning of it.
And it's the beginning of it. And so that's really fucking cool. When I heard that and I wasn't
because you're not there. You don't remember what was said. Yeah. And again, the whole scene was about Tig. Like the second you see everybody's looks, it's almost like everybody freezes up. So what I wrote about the funeral scene, because I mean, there is things you remember. You have to understand how much went on that night.
Sure. All of us.
Okay. Everything went on that night. I mean, obviously we have what's coming up with Hal. We knew that it was a big night. It was a tense night for a couple of reasons. Johnny Lewis was gone now from the show. He was apparently went to do another project and didn't tell anyone because I guess he was gone and he had shaved his eyebrows and they needed a still photo of him in military clothes for the casket. And if you notice the photo on top, he has no eyebrows. They tried to CGI or do something into it, but he has no eyebrows. They cut him off. They weren't happy, but he was off the show because he left the show 6 months before. But they needed him to do that picture. Nothing you could do. They should have got the picture in season 2. They didn't get it in season 2. They got it. They asked him to do it later on. Clay has a cut on his right eye. I don't know what from. That was something I was trying to figure out. Maybe it was something happened in season 2 finale. Don't know. Just curious about that. That's just one of the things I have. But this was the night about the DL continuity stuff. Do you remember this?
No, I wasn't there. Go ahead.
Everyone's out on the lawn.
Oh, I know what you're going to bring up. DL's in every fucking shot. Is that right?
Yeah, because
he was just in
every shot, because we would run when the van, you'd all be running. But what you have to remember where you were, because when they would restart the scene, you can't
go back to where you were.
Correct.
When that car was coming down the street. Go ahead.
You can't be where the new camera is. You have to be where you were.
That's right. To get to the new camera. It's called continuity.
So
good old DL, good old young DL with all his happy face. Lift off.
He was. So we had a ball that night.
Give him an all.
Telling him, I was literally saying, Bud, you got to stay over here. Like this is, you can't. Like the camera's moving over there.
What do you mean, bro? What the fuck? I was there.
So that's why I love him, because he really is. He just wanted to be the best. He wanted to do the best. But at the same time, there is certain things that, in acting, you just kind of have to know about being on a set, camera left, camera right, all the stuff we talk about. And all that went out the window. So that was that. Listen, we had more extras there, in and out, in the funeral home, on the streets,
all night long. That was an all-nighter.
Night long. And then remember now, this is just about the time where the show's starting to get big, and we're starting to get people watching us film up in Santa Clarita, where we were, or wherever we were with that funeral home. We have now people who, it's not just the 100 or 200 extras. You got people watching. No. and
We had a lot. We had a
pictures
lot.
and
We had a
saying
lot. We had a
hello.
lot. A lot of cops. Had a lot of
Lot
cops.
of cops.
Back
lot of
up.
people.
Back up. Back up.
So this was a huge scene. And when it's a huge scene, things get kooky. You know, you weren't there.
I
You
do.
know, things get crazy. And I go to retreat mode. Let me hide. Where can I hide? How can I get out of here? How can I get away? And I go hide in my trailer, under the trailer. I just want to be away from everything.
Where's Theo? Don't bother him. He knows exactly
he's
where he
hiding.
is.
So, and the thing is because you got to understand, and why I say that is when there's that many extras, a lot of them had been with us for a long time. They've been part of the show, but they're part of the show, but they really want to be part of the show. So they're still like, all over, and they want to
Trying
talk,
really hard.
They're trying really hard. And you just want to like focus on what's going on. And sometimes that gets a little tricky. So it was this huge, huge scene. And we knew that Jax and Clay had that really big moment at the end in front of the casket. So everything was kind of gearing up towards that with Tara and all that. But that wasn't it. That was just one part of the night, because now we're going to go back outside and you think everything's hunky dory. And man, that drive-by, all that slow motion. So for a second, I thought my TV was broke. The slow motion. Didn't know what was happening. I was like, why is it slow motion?
I wrote it down that I don't remember us ever really doing slow motion on that show that often. We did a couple of times, but that was a choice. We did a couple of times. Yeah. Yeah. But not very often, but yeah, that slow-mo was a real effort, and on purpose
it all
effort.
Come together and watching everything happen. Yeah. And again, the ending is the shock of Hal. What? Like what? And then even bigger. So let's just stay for a second with the Clay and Jack scene. Let's just stay there for 1 second.
Yeah.
Wondering if Jax will fall apart like John, like JT. Will he fall apart? This is the moment. Will it all get to him the way it got to John Teller? That's what Clay's thinking. That's what Clarence is thinking at that moment. And he has to give him like that motivational speech to like wake him up. This is what they're all expecting of you out there. And Jax at first kind of rejects that speech. Like, what? No. He's in whatever. He's in pain. He's wallowing. He's this, he's that. I'm not even thinking about that. But what we come to find out a few minutes later.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I have to say that where does Sutter choose to do that speech? He does it on Kip's casket. He does it right where Half Sack is laying. He does the big scene. Like people out who are having a cocktail or having a smoke outside, they're seeing the president, the vice president. They're talking about the Half Sack. They're talking about Half Sack and what a great guy he was, and getting no. They're actually having one of the most important club conversations between a president and a VP they're ever going to have, and it's right there by the casket. It's right there where no one's going to come in, no one's going to be by them. And what he says in such low terms, the two of them were almost whispering that whole thing. Was Jax fought it at the end, and Clay would have none of it. And he said, whatever you're going to do, if you think you're going to show those men who love you something, you better do it like yesterday, because your time's running out. Mm-hmm. Okay, we go from that stunning, beautiful,
and almost for a second that can seem a little heartless what Clay's saying, but what he's saying is you got hundreds of people. Thousands across, all these different charters that are looking at you and looking at this charter of what's going to happen. Yeah. Again, where for a second you can go, man, he's kind of heartless, and that's not right to say. But then you think, this is the responsibility. This is what they do. This is who the club is.
That's right. If you remember, literally at this beginning of this episode, Charlie's hungover, drunk, sad. His whole gut's been ripped out because Abel's gone. He may never see him again. Well, we've gone through an entire hour and 5 minutes now, and enough's enough. Don't ever lose that grief. Don't ever lose that revenge thing.
Yep.
But whatever it is, you better wake up. Because if you don't wake up, there's hundreds of men and women out there, men mostly, because of our club, situation. You're going to lose them. You're going to lose you. You're going to lose everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. Get it together.
And then, so now we cut to, before we get to that montage outside, we cut to, well, this is the start of the montage. We cut to Belfast, which was
amazing.
Half Ireland, half North Hollywood.
Amazing.
Okay. Do you remember what part's Ireland, what part's North Hollywood?
Well, not only do I not remember, but I will, I'm going to save this story about season 3 when we actually talk about the 7th episode, because the 7th episode
when we go.
is when you actually go. And I need to tell all our
but there was a crew there at this point.
In Ireland, you're talking about?
Yes, when you see him carrying the baby across, that's actually Ireland.
Okay. That probably wasn't Cameron though.
No,
it
was a double.
That's right. So
that's why you had the hood up.
That was a double.
Correct.
That's right. And then when they got to Maureen, Paula.
That's North Hollywood.
That's North Hollywood.
Correct.
Because there was a lot, and we'll talk about this. This is going to be so fun for you and me. But there were shots over the back of a Clay or a Paula.
It's not
them. Or it's not them.
Especially the ones of them riding through Ireland.
No, that's not them. Because the streets are real, but anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So we go to that, then we get to the montage.
Love the song. Oh, I mean, gosh,
who's shooting? Who is shooting? Who did the shooting?
I mean, fuck.
Because I know there's.
Is it Mayans again?
Something.
Is it the Mayans again?
Or a subset of the Mayans. It's like a I think if I remember correctly, and I actually think I'm correct here. I think it's. I'm not going to say I'm correct because I might be wrong.
No, I think it was. I think
it's
it was
like a crew that the Mayans are bringing in, like patching over. Yeah.
And we're going to be completely wrong, but I think that's exactly right.
Who cares?
But one guy falls out.
One guy falls out and gets captured, and this goes into what we were just speaking about. 2 things that happen. First of all, slow motion, fast motion, Jack's attacking this guy. My kids were at the table, not looking at the TV. They were eating and doing art. Their backs were to me and Megan. I was trying to finish the episode before, because whatever. And
it's not Disney.
I had to block the TV as best I could. And I literally grabbed a pillow and held it up because he was smashing his face into the ground violently. Yeah,
we would say this. We would say on set, this is not Disney. This is
not Disney.
No,
and it is now actually because they own FX and Fox. But it's not Disney when we did it. It is now
when we did it. It is now.
It is now. So what's funny is Clay in the background has the look of, that's what I wanted to see. That you will kill and do whatever you have to do to get Abel back and to show these men.
Correct. And I think it actually took him aback as well. I thought Clay had that look of good, but motherfucker. Holy shit. I mean, that ending. I mean, again, Theo, there was no topic that Sutter didn't take on or discuss or throw in front of us.
Does
because
the kid die?
Well, it certainly looked like he was dying, or he was gone, or I mean, the mom's there. All I know is I just go, that ending, bullets everywhere, Hale's death, the little boy being shot, drive-bys, Jack smacking that banger's head, showing the club he means business. I mean, and also, again, Charlie looking at that little boy, and the violence, and his son's gone. And anyway, he just snapped. And
then Hal, obviously, losing a huge character, been with us, from season 1. We had lost Half Sack in the finale, the episode before. Then we're losing Hal in this one. So this is when the bodies start dropping. And this is when as actors on the show, you realize I might not be here next week. This is when you start thinking of that.
Well, not you and me, because
at any
not
point,
really.
It could have been the end of the season. There was always a moment where, like, am I going to go in the finale, or am I going to go in episode 10 or 11? right?
Well, then you remind me then, because I do know one of these seasons, maybe not 3, but maybe it was 5 when we started killing off all the main.
Yes, 5.
But it was one of those seasons where they came up to all of you.
When Piney went.
Okay, that's when I'm just saying that I was told before every season, you make it through the season, or you're not going to die this season, or you're going to die this season. I think we got a lot of respect.
I was told maybe.
You were always told maybe, because we want to
Maybe.
keep you on your toes. We wanted you on your toes.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Oh, all right. Let's see what happens. So it's an amazing episode. We're 3 into season 3. We're gonna have another one next week. I am rethinking my opinions of season 3. Let's see what happens. I think a lot of that opinion was from when we went to actually Ireland in the show. So I'm curious of episode 7 on of what that was like. And I know my reasoning because the cast got really large. There was like 70 people on every show or whatever.
I wasn't part of any.
You weren't part of it.
That's why I'm going to enjoy listening to you, as you will of me, with all the Unser, Tara, Kenny Johnson shit, the Missy stuff, the dog.
Well, wait till we get into the Kozik stuff. That's next week, and I'm really excited for that. But yeah, man, I love you.
All right, man, I love you, buddy.
This show is crazy. Agent 644, sign us out. Sign us out.
Out. Theo Rossi, because you are Theo Rossi. Over and out.
Over and out.
Love you, buddy.